What's going on, guys? My name is Chad, and this is the NP01S, which is a collab between Zygen and Vaxee. It's also the little brother of the NP01, which I've got right here. Both of these mice are the exact same shape, with the only difference being the size. Today we're going to be taking a look at both of them, so hopefully you can decide if one of these will be a good fit for you. Alright, let's check it out. So we just hit 1,000 subs on the channel, and I wanted to say thank you for all the nice comments and all the support you guys have shown along the way. It means a lot, and I really appreciate it. For the sake of disclosure, Vaxee did send these mice out to me for review, but that's not going to affect anything I have to say about them. My goal is the same as always, which is just to give you my honest opinion and true experience with the product. In case you don't know who Vaxee is, they're the original team behind Zowie, which is a legendary name in esports. They decided to split off from BenQ to start their own company, and now they're called Vaxee. So no matter which mouse you buy from Vaxee, they're all going to be the same price, which is $59.99. The unboxing experience here is very plain and simple. Inside the box, you just get the mouse itself covered in protective foam, and that's it. There's no extras at all, but the mouse is very well protected. Each mouse comes in two flavors, matte black or glossy white. After using them both for a while, I personally prefer the matte finish. It feels very premium to the touch, it's really comfortable, and it offers pretty good grip. My hands do have a tendency to sweat a little bit on this finish, and once moisture gets on the coating, it kind of stays there. This did cause my hand to slip a little bit sometimes, but it wasn't a huge deal. The glossy finish looks awesome, and it feels really nice as well. It's pretty easy for me to grip, but the only downside I had was it would kind of stick to the inside of my palm sometimes, making it feel a little bit less mobile. But if you have really dry hands that don't get sweaty, then the glossy finish might be the way to go for you. Both the matte and glossy versions have the same textured black buttons, which feels pretty different from the rest of the mouse. I do feel like it gives me a little extra grip and it feels nice, but at the expense of the mouse looking and feeling a little less uniform. So here are the dimensions of these mice. Again, the S is just a smaller version with the same shape. Naturally, it's going to be a little lighter at 71 grams, and the bigger brother is coming in at 75. The NP01 is a little taller and wider, with the biggest difference being at the back of the mouse, and it's 4mm wider here. This feels the most noticeable to me when I use these mice with a hybrid grip, and I try to bring them back into my palm for vertical aiming. I really love the shape of these mice. It's definitely my favorite thing about them. The best way I can describe it is if an EC2 and an S2 from Zowie had a baby. If you look at them from above, they look ergonomic, kind of like an EC2, but when you look at them from the side, they have a very similar low profile like the S2. This is the first time I've used the mouse that can give you the benefits of both shapes in one form factor, and it's pretty awesome. I feel like the shape is a pretty safe bet no matter what grip style you use. If I was to rank how well it did with different grips, I would put claw grip at number 1, fingertip at number 2, palm grip at 3, and hybrid grip would be last at 4th place, but it's still great for that. If you've tried ergo mice before and you love that comfort that they give you, but you just couldn't get over how tall they are, this is kind of the best of both worlds, and you might really love it. So since they brought the weight down on these mice, some of you might be concerned about the build quality. Well, let me tell you, there's nothing to worry about because these things are built like tanks. These mice were assembled with precision, and it definitely shows. I can't even feel the lines that connect the different panels of the body, and it's even hard to see them, they're so smooth. I have absolutely no creaking, no flexing, none of that stuff. Just a solid build all over. Every single copy I have has the exact same build quality, and it's perfect, but I wouldn't expect anything less from these guys. Moving on to the buttons, it's a very different experience here from the older Zowie mice like my FK2. The FK2 was notorious for its really stiff clicks, and I'm happy to say that that's no longer an issue on any of the Vaxee mice I've tried so far. They're light and crispy, but they're not super tactile. They don't take too long to rebound, so spamming them is easy. None of my mice really have any pre-travel at all. It's more post-travel than anything, but overall the clicks feel really good. They've moved on from the buttons being integrated into the shell of the mouse, and now they have their own separate button compartment. I do have more button wobble on these mice compared to my older FK2, but it's nothing I can feel in game, and it's not that big of a deal. The side buttons on all of my Vaxee mice feel great. There's minimal pre-travel with a little bit of post. They sound good, they feel good. Overall, I really like them, and they're a huge upgrade over the buttons on my old FK2. They also upgraded their scroll wheels compared to older Zowie mice, which is great to see because the old ones were awful. The new ones are very tactile, so you can easily feel each step. They're a little hard to spam, but overall it's way better than their older wheels, but somehow they managed to make them louder. So the way I see it is this is a beastly wheel in game, but when you're browsing the web on your PC, it's a little annoying, but I love the feel and function of it in game, and I think it's great there. Flipping this guy over, we have two huge PTFE feet here, and they feel pretty decent. They're not super fast and smooth, but they're definitely good enough to get the job done. The sensor is a Pixart 3389, which is pretty much flawless, and I wouldn't even worry about it. The only thing you need to know are the default steps, which are 400, 800, 1600, and 3200, and you can't set a custom DPI on this mouse because there's no software for it. The mouse is completely plug and play. There's 3 buttons here on the bottom which let you adjust your DPI, polling rate, and your debounce times. Also, the liftoff distance is adjustable by holding different combinations of buttons when plugging the mouse in. The cable's stress relief is angled upwards to prevent drag on your mouse pad, but sadly the cable feels pretty thick and heavy. It reminds me of the first glorious cables on the original Model O, but this is even a little bit worse than that. This is definitely my least favorite thing about these mice, and it doesn't feel like the cable's quality is on par with everything else. So I think in order to get the most out of these mice, you would need to replace the stock cable, and I would just go ahead and order some cord pads while you're at it, since you're gonna have to remove the stock feet anyways to swap out the cable. At this point, you would have an insane setup, but that's gonna push your price upwards of $90 total. There's no RGB or anything flashy or fancy on these mice. These are all about shape, aim, and performance, and I think they do that pretty well. The shape was really easy for me to adjust to, and it took me literally less than a day to start aiming really well on it. My hands are 19 by 11, and I use a hybrid grip, and the MPO-1S fits my hands extremely well. It kind of reminds me of a more comfortable FK2 without the side buttons and a little bit more room for my ring finger and pinky. Tracking on the stock feet was smooth enough to get great results, and I had really good control of the mouse for hitting flick shots and just general use. But again, the cable is pretty underwhelming, and even in a bungee I found it to be distracting. So overall, what I think it comes down to is, do you love the feel of an ergo mouse, but you want a lower profile on top? If so, then I can definitely recommend these mice, especially if you're willing to spend an extra 30 bucks to replace the stock cable and feet. That's gonna wrap this one up. If you have any questions about these mice, leave me a comment and I'll get to it as soon as I can. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.